Good morning and welcome to the market forecast. It is Monday, May the 24th. John Hoagland here along with Lacey. We thank you for trusting us with your time. I was trying to think of a title this morning, and the only thing that would really seem appropriate is Happy Monday. Most people don't look forward to Mondays. They find them to be mundane and the beginning of the week. We've got a long week ahead of us, but as traders, we look forward to Mondays. We look forward to the idea to getting back into the opportunities that the markets are going to afford for us. And I am always excited on Mondays, as excited as I am on Fridays. As always, we're going to be looking for accurate context for us, good risk management, as well as practicing good patience as far as economic numbers due out this morning. Really, not a lot on the docket this morning, but we do have a relatively busy week. Let me refresh this. Today, we've got a couple of talking Fed speaking 3-month bill auction, 6-month bill auction. Really nothing to talk about. Tuesday, we've got the FA Housing Price Index, Case-Shiller Housing Price Index, both of those at 8 a.m. Central tomorrow, as just as crude is going to be opening up. We also have new home sales and consumer confidence at 9 o'clock tomorrow. Those may be a little bit more impactful. Wednesday, really just a couple of talking Feds and the EIA petroleum status report due out at its usual time at 9:30 on Wednesday. Thursday, durable goods orders, GDP, jobless claims. Thursday is going to be the big day this week for economic numbers, as not just those. We also have pending home sales due out on Thursday, as well as EIA natural gas report due out on Thursday at its usual time, 9:30. Friday, industrial trade and goods, trade numbers coming out, and personal income and outlays also due out. We are also going to have the Chicago PMI, as well as the University of Michigan consumer sentiment report out on Friday. So a kind of a slow start for economic numbers this week, but we certainly have an impactful Wednesday and Thursday, of course. As far as other news is concerned, a lot of folks talking about stocks are set to open higher this morning during which really still kind of, in my opinion, at least in the S&Ps, just still in a kind of a lack of convicted area of balance. Maybe we'll see some opportunities outside those areas of balance this week as the economic numbers continue to come out. But I'm really not expecting all that much, at least for the E-mini S&Ps. NASDAQ holding a little bit of a stronger upside structure, but we're going to we'll look at that shortly. And of course, on a Monday, as usual, if there's something that goes wrong, I just lost my charts. So we'll keep those up and get through those charts this morning. Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies found some bids last night after some downside movement. No real change or anything all that impactful unless you are speculating in cryptocurrencies. You've been on a little bit of a roller coaster lately. Crude on the rise, up about $1 this morning after the revival news of the revival of the Iran deal have fallen flat. So perhaps a little bit of a difficulty in supply in that regard. So crude off to the upside. As always, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you share, comment, question, feedback, and heckling at will are always welcome. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel when we do go live. And looking at the VIX this morning, down just a little bit, down under 20 again, 1981 last I checked. The dollar index down below 90, 89.90 last I checked, down a little bit. And the 10-year yield continues to slide back down to 1.6%. So we're going to be getting a little bit of a bid here in the 10-year, and we'll see that shortly. As always, I'd like to say good morning to everybody. Theo, good morning. The infamous Felix Escobar is in the room. Bill Phillips, Brian, good morning. Lamus, you have a nice, steady, consistent week. That sounds like a great idea to me, Lamus. Good morning, Murph. Murph back in the room. Monday morning, new beginnings, new start. Let's get it going on the right path today. Always a good idea, Murph. Thanks for the thoughts and the ideas for everybody here. Richie, Colin, Caesar, Jim, Subconscious, Vince. Good to see you this morning. Tim, PD, good to see you. Shady Trader, good morning. Greg, Josiah, the chef, Mr. Magallanes, is in the room. JD, the Dancing Bear, is in the room. Good morning, JD. Tone, Trading Research, George Adams, Mr. Shine, Andres, Tim G. Which bunch of gold are you trading today? As far as I didn't look at the volume, but I'm thinking it's still the current front month. Let me take a look here. I know we have rollover coming, but it's not the June rollover that they're talking about. I think it's the April rollover that they're talking about, as far as I know, and we'll double check, over the coming days here. I'm not thinking that it's the June rollover that we're going for. So we're still trading the June, Tim. Keith, good morning. Oleg, Jason, Tactic, good to see you. Good morning. And Toadman Extro. That's got to be how that's said. Good morning, everybody. Here's the link for group coaching this Wednesday. Always a pleasure. Always a high point in my week that I get to sit and chat with everybody. Might come to visit you guys from Toronto in a few weeks in person if they let me drive through the border. Well, come on down, Milan. I'm okay with you driving down through the border, but to see how that goes. All right, so let me bring these charts back up. I do apologize for this. This is an occasional thorn in my side here. We're going to get them up and get things. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. And here we go. All right, off to the charts. As always, we start with the daily and crude. Changes in the Iran rumor have changed our picture here just a little bit. I'm going to make this big. This is the daily chart, of course. We got last week's high and low. We got weekly kickoff low, 61.50, 65.50 weekly kickoff high. We've brought price back, kind of in range and in balance here. This area of consolidation, I'm expecting to be somewhat sticky unless there's some sort of new news. This $4 range offers opportunities. We can see that there's been some increase in volatility, even though the market has not been all that directional. Overall, we kind of broke upside structure, but it seems as though we are working to fix that upside structure. We added 3,200 in open interest on Friday off of the low here, which ended up being the weekly low. So in this area, I'm going to be looking for short time frame levels to look for opportunities for profit targets and or entries, because again, we've fallen back into an area of previous short time frame control. Again, any news can change that seriously. So here's our 30-minute, last week's low, last week's high. This is weekly kickoff this week, 65.50. We've got settlement right here, 63.58. Put that on your charts. We've opened with some overnight longs here, perhaps a little bit of reconciliation of that here before the open. The market looks like it wants to try and continue to push to the upside. Our overnight low is going to be interesting. Weekly kickoff high would certainly be an interesting opportunity for us, but you have to really try and remain cautious and patient. Gap rules. We have not closed the gap. There's going to be so many targets and levels in short time frame with which to look for. I'm going to suggest looking to your best levels first. In other words, weekly kickoff high would be a level to look for an opportunity. Overnight high, maybe. Overnight low, for sure. Is there an opportunity to take advantage of the overnight inventory that still looks like they're a little bit to the long side. If we can close the gap, I would look for a close to settlement / point of control. So I really have to try and stay pretty patient in this market, even though it's out of balance in the short time frame. In other words, opened outside of Friday's range and value. Overall, it's still in a very range-bound type of situation. So I'm going to try again and stay kind of patient in this. The E-mini S&Ps. The E-mini S&Ps are in a really kind of a interesting situation. This is the daily chart. This is last week's low, last week's high. Weekly kickoff low, 40.75. Weekly kickoff high, 42.20. We're really just kind of ranging here. We had some coiling going on. The coiling has broken out. Have we really seen momentum coming in? We did add 23,000 in open interest on Friday. That to me says something. We've got a lot of even highs up here. There's no strong rejection or excess at the highs, at recent highs. There's no strong rejection or excess even at the lows in recent sessions. So the market really not showing tremendous energy in any direction. Seems more like it's more digestive and looking for new information, and we're going to be looking for new information by getting these charts back up for us as quickly as possible. And here we go, and they're back. Okay, so I'll be watching the last week's high as an interesting area. There may be some fish there. 41.85 is that level. Open interest continues to increase on up days, so I think we're getting pretty close to returning to our grind to the upside again, barring any bad news. And let's take a look at the 30. So this is the situation here. Settlements here. 41.51.75. We have our overnight low. We've got some longs accumulating in this market overnight. However, there's no gap. There's no real big move. This is certainly reconcilable short time frame, weaker hands longs in this market if we can't continue this move to the upside, and that's going to take new business. Our last week's high is going to be an important inflection level for us, and then 42.20, a weekly kickoff high above that. But if we can't see buyers coming in and continuing to pay our overnight longs, they may decide, okay, that's it, we're going to capitulate, we're going to get out, and it would offer better trade opportunities for longs at lower prices. But again, we got to see how this market opens up, see what it looks like, see if the opening range is one extreme or the other. If the opening range is the upper extreme, I'd say there's a pretty good probability of a reconciling of overnight longs to push the market lower to give us some profits and look for opportunities as the day goes on. You got point of control right down here at 41.78, 41.58, forgive me. NASDAQ's a little bit different, same but different. The market has been more holding an upside structure in short time frame than the S&Ps have. We can see higher lows, higher highs. Last week's high here, last week's low here. Adding 3,600 in open interest on an overlapping to higher session. Now we've got the market continuing to push higher. Last week's high is going to be an interesting spot for me. Previous weekly kickoff level also in play. That level was 13,513. So we're still flirting with that level. It's going to be a little bit more visual for us here on the 30-minute chart. Here we have last week, we have Friday, we have settlement, which is 13,405. most of our overnight inventories to the long side. We are still wrestling with weekly kickoff high from last week. We're also wrestling with the high of the week from last week. To me, that it just looks like there's fish here. If we can find them, we can get the right way. I think we may see some decent opportunities in the confluence of weekly kickoff high and last week's high. Okay, this was last week's weekly kickoff high. This was last week's high. Interesting spot here. Interesting spot. Take a look. Here we go. We added, I guess, like 5,500. No, 3,600 on the down move. Is this going to create resistance up here? Time will tell. But I think there's fish here, folks. Gold. No, I didn't just do that. Oh. All right. Well, here's the daily in gold. Last week's weekly kickoff level, pivotal. Okay, this 1882 level. I've left it on the charts because I still feel as though it is not showing right now. Hang on one second. Jeez. I get this figured out, and then it messes up on me again, and here's what we have to do. Okay, so back to the daily in crude. Gold. It's going to be a pivotal level, okay? Long above, short below. Be careful with that. It can chop you up. It may spend a day here trying to make a decision as to what direction it wants to go. We got our last week's high just above that. Interesting area here. We added 5,500 in open interest on this move on Friday. So money is still coming in, and apparently to the long side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days without really any kind of serious pullback. We still have money coming into the long side in the gold. Is that going to be enough to continue us to bring in new business and new buyers to the upside, or are we going to pull back a little bit? It's going to be an interesting week. The weekly kickoff high right now for this week is 1934. If we accept above that, that's the next level we think that the longer time frame is going to need to adjust inventory. Take a look at the 30-minute chart. I can't believe I did this. $30. Where are we? 1882. Overnight inventory? Nah. Opening range, the low of the session? Nah. Back in value? Looks that way. Patience. Be patient in this. I'm still going to be looking for, I think, opportunities to buy weakness, and I'm going to be really careful around this 1882. This could be one of those magnetic levels that just becomes a buzzsaw and chews you up. So I'm really patient here. We're right in the middle of the range from yesterday or from Friday and Tuesday and Thursday and Wednesday. Patience. Euro. Upside consolidation is what I'm calling this. Upside break, back to the upside, still higher, lower, still higher lows, still higher highs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, 4 days really in this range-bound activity. I'm calling it upside digestion because the tint or the tilt is still to the upside. We lost 3,600 in open interest on the downside. We've got our last week's range in pink here, very narrow range, very narrow opportunities, I guess, in that case. To me, the only real interesting areas are going to be at last week's high and low, unless we're looking into the 30-minute chart, which we should be, because this is indicating pretty much short time frame control. We're up, we're down, we're up, we're down, we're up, we're down. There's no real major direction to this. So here's last week's high. Here's where we are this week. We opened with a gap. We closed the gap right away. We do have some potential overnight longs that could push us to lower prices for better trade location. but it's going to be hard to find the fish, if you will. There's going to be, again, a lot of different levels, different time frame levels to look for opportunities. You got your weekly high, you got your weekly kickoff low, you got your weekly low, you got your weekly kickoff low, which is considerably lower. So what are we looking for? Well, we're looking for short time frame levels, and there's oodles of them out there. We just traded up to the point of control from Thursday, showing possibly some resistance. We've got overnight highs, we've got lows from last week, we've got all kinds of things to look at for opportunities. Let the market come to you and let it give you the opportunity. This point of control up here looks to me like the charts are gone. I hate this when this happens, but we'll get it straight for tomorrow. So again, point of control, overnight high, unable to take it out. Looks like a pretty decent opportunity for us to find good trade location for shorts to see if we can reconcile all those overnight longs. 10 to the 10-year, and we'll get down to business. So the 10-year really just continuing its range-bound activity. I mean, we've been in this area for a month. We've had some excursions outside of it on scary things that have happened in the news or whatever, but it just keeps coming back to the center here. Last week's high and low are really the important levels that I'll be focusing on for any longer-term opportunities. We added 60,000 on a day that ended up as a doji. So money coming in a little bit, but really just indecisive money, just adjusting inventories. 30-minute chart. And, okay, we had some overnight longs up near last week's high, Friday's high, last week's high. Overnight longs capitulating. Does it give us an opportunity to look for a long at lower pricing? Perhaps. Again, stay very patient. This market has been really kind of range bound in longer time frame. We've had some pretty decent opportunities in short time frame when we get a directional move, but you got to kind of be in those already before they start to take off. Okay, here we are right back to point of control from Friday. Interesting, challenging in the euro as well as the 10-year today. NASDAQ weekly highs and lows. Okay. We've got the high, 13,722. The low, 13,149. There you go, Leo. You just have to just add a line. If I can hold the charts here for just a second. So all I do is, let's say, here's the S&Ps. If I want to add a line up here, I just get horizontal line, click, drag. If I want it to go past current price, I hit range. I can also have it be a line so it goes all the way back and all the way forward. You can change the color here. You can also change the thickness of it right here. So I'm going to put that line there. And then I'm going to take it off just by going over it, double left clicking, and then getting rid of it there. Okay? But yeah, all of those lines I'm populating myself, like weekly kickoff lines, weekly ranges, as well as settlement lines, all added myself. All right, so summer doldrums start. Well, I mean, it really depends on what's going on in the world, Edward. I've seen some summers that ended up being, wonderful trading opportunities. So it's hard to say. You have Europe that takes basically all of August off. That tends to slow things down a little bit. You've got lots of U.S. based traders that take advantage of when their kids aren't in school to take vacation. So usually you're going to see some sort of a drop in participation, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the opportunities will be unavailable to us. I think there's always opportunity. And it's a great question, though. We'll keep an eye on that. We'll watch that and see, what kind of volumes we hold up, and what kind of opportunities we do see in the summer. So in the trading pit, when you had some of the bigger traders taking time off during the summer, it allowed some of the smaller traders to come up and stand in their spots and get some really decent opportunities. So it's really day to day, it seems, Edward. So we'll see. I'm going to take my deep breath. We got about 3 minutes before the equity open. Stay humble, grateful, and creative in your trading today. We should see Dan for the market recap today at 3 o'clock, and looking forward to seeing Dan, and looking forward to seeing your success. So trade well, get out there and profit, and we'll see you later on.